parameters of the processing quality of the poultry meat. The technological characteristics of the meat, pH, drip losses, color, had very significant heritabilities. The ultimate pH value of muscle appeared to be a determining factor for broiler meats, since very high correlations were found between this trait and the lightness in the color of the meat and drip losses. By contrast, body weight and breast meat yield were poorly correlated with meat traits, which suggested that selection of the growth and muscle development would not inevitably cause changes in the quality of the broiler breast meat. Factors affecting the quality of poultry meat. 6. Males grow faster and are leaner, but exhibit a significantly lower breast meat yield than the females. The sensory attribute of the meat are barely affected by the gender when birds are compared at the same age. When both sexes are reared together under optimal growth condition, male reach sexual maturity around 14 weeks before females, and their meat has a stronger flavor. Sexual status of birds have lower impact on the physicochemical properties and eating quality of the chicken breast and thigh meat. Breast meat from Muscovy duck males appear to be only slightly more tender and juicier and less flavorsome than that of the female. Factor affecting the meat quality, like rearing conditions. In commercial broiler production, high stocking density reduces the bird activity and therefore creates an array of carcass defects. For instance, birds interact more among themselves, are more prone to scabby hits, which form unsightly blemishes on the carcass and lead to carcass downgrading. High density can also increase the litter moisture. When the birds sit on wet litter, they are prone to developing hawk buns, scabs on their honks, which also lead to carcass downgrading. Bad management of litter can also be a cause of breast blisters and burns. Burns on the skin, which may become infected through prolonged exposure of moisture, is more common in male than in females. All these carcass quality problems are avoided by not overstocking, by managing the litter correctly, and avoiding conditions that lead to diarrhea in the bird. As stocking density rises, the birds compete more for the feed, growth rate, and breast development start to decline. However, stocking density does not have any marked effect on the sensory attribute of the meat. High ambient temperature may improve the flavor of the chicken meat and increase the proportion of the polyunsaturated fatty acid in the carcass fat deposits. The tenderness of the broiler breast meat can be affected by season of the year, with more tender meat being obtained in the fall and tougher meat in the summer. Breeding conditions are expected to be even more important under the less intensive systems used for free-range birds. Extensive systems provide plenty of space for exercises, but the impact of access to the open air affect the eating quality of the chicken meat is non-significant. Production practices. In some European countries like France, extensive systems of poultry production have been developed as a reaction to intensive poultry production, which has tended to give chicken the image of a cheap, low-quality product. The meat has been considered less tasteless or even having a bad flavor and too soft. In France, the concept of label brood, traditional free-range poultry, was created in 1960. This concept is based on criteria currently demanded by European consumer, namely the bird welfare, environmental protection, meat of superior organoleptic qualities, productability, total control of the hygiene, with all the guarantees provided by the recognized system of certification based on the third-party controllers. The rearing signification The rearing specifications of the label rogue require that the bird come from the special breeds selected for their low growth rate, high meat quality, and good skin appearance. Label rogue poultry are reared in an open air and profit from large shaded open spaces. The growing area is limited to 400 meters square per poultry house, 1600 meters square per farm, and the stocking density about 11 birds per meter square. Feed must contain cereals about 75% minimum, no animal matter, a restricted number of supplements, and no growth enhancers. These kind of birds are transported to the slaughterhouse, and the transportation time must not exceed 2 hours or a distance of about 100 km, and the conditions involved have been strictly defined. Label rogue production increased fourfold in the last 20 years, and the birds are mainly sold as the whole carcass. However, the rate of the growth is slowing down, partly because the demand of the cut portion and further processed product, which develop rapidly at the expense of the whole carcasses. Difference in the tenderness and juiciness between the label rogue and the standard bird were more marked for males, while the butter flavor of the label rogue was more marked for the female birds. Sensory difference between the label rogue and more intensively rare birds may be explained by the combined effect of the genotype, their diet, and stocking density. Texture and appearance would be more influenced by genotype, diet, and age, while cooked meat color, odor and flavor seem to be related more to age, the genotype, diet, interaction, to a lesser extent, stocking density. The process associated with the rigor mortis occur more rapidly in the breast muscles of the label rogue type bird, mainly because they struggle more during the shankling and are more sensitive to the pre-slaughter stress. When subjected to heat stress for 3 hours before slaughter, label rogue type birds reacted by reducing their consumption of the muscle glycogen, which lead to a decrease in their ultimate pH value, especially for thigh meat. Because of greater rate of fall in pH and lower ultimate pH, label rogue types breast meat exhibit poor water holding capacity, which result in a lower yield during curing, cooking, but in further processed meat with lower levels of moisture, a drier texture, and a better slicing characteristics appear. Future trend for improving the poultry quality. The quality of the poultry meat depends on the large number of animal related factors. The availability of literature demonstrates that the major role of genetics and age at slaughter on the sensory attributes of the meat. There is also some recent evidences that the two factors could change the technological properties of the meat in conjunction with the effect of processing. This underlines the importance of the future research in assessing the interactions between the breeding and the processing in determining meat quality. The objective of work should be to ensure optimal meat quality by either adapting the bird to the technological constraints and products that exist now or in the future, or adjusting processes and markets to the output of the different modes of the poultry production. Thank you so much.